My name is Emma Wardropper. As Charles was saying, I used to work for Capital One, who are a fintech company based in Nottingham, who also have a London headquarters. I left there last May, and I'm now a self-employed mindfulness teacher and psychotherapist. And I actually trained up in both of those roles during my time at Capital One, and I consult for them as an external provider now. So I just want to talk to you today basically about mindfulness, a bit about what it is, the benefits of it. I'm going to do a little guided practice if people are happy to do that, so you all get to actually try it out. And then I'm going to talk to you about what I did at Capital One and how I launched it, some of the different initiatives, what I've done at a few other companies, and then you'll probably be sick of my voice, so just any questions for all of us at the end. I've not got many slides, so I'll flick onto them when I've got a few more. So just to get a bit of a background to myself, so like I say, my name's Emma. I was introduced to mindfulness about 5 years ago through Capital One, where I used to work. And I went on a course, and it's one of the most life-changing thing I've ever done. So I now practice it regularly, nearly every day, and I will do it without a doubt for the rest of my life, because it's had such an impact on my well-being. So I've got MS, I've got a physical disability, and I've had so many less relapses since I've been, the only difference is doing the mindfulness. I even run regularly now, which I wouldn't even run for the bus in the past, so it's been really, really helpful to me. And also, not just MS related, it's generally just helped me feel a lot happier, calmer, content, improve my relationships with people, and just less stressed. And exactly as Charles was saying, the society in this VUCA world today is so stressful, isn't it? We're always on, technology is always on, so mindfulness has just given me a great opportunity for just feeling a lot less stressed. So I introduced mindfulness into Capital One, and I'll come back to that in a bit, but I think in regards to Capital One, there needed to be the right culture and environment there at the time for it to be introduced. So we went through the big recession, the 2008-2009 financial crisis. Engagement was at an all-time low after that, as I'm sure it was in many businesses. And there was a number of initiatives that were ran to really build the company vision, which actually then brought the engagement up to a significantly high amount. So it was the right environment to introduce it in. It doesn't always have to be like that, but it helped me to embed it in Capital One. So do you mind raising your hands if you know what mindfulness is, or if you practice it? You know what it is. Okay. And just raise your hands if you don't really know what it is at all. It's fine as well. Okay. So most people are aware, but I'm still going to talk through a bit of a definition, if that's okay. Not a formal, official definition, but just so people get an understanding. So to me, mindfulness is just simply bringing our attention to the present moment. So not dwelling on the past that's been and gone, which we may spend time thinking about, which we can't change, and also not spending too much time thinking about the future, which we can't predict. It's about training our brain to spend more time in the present moment. And with this comes a number of benefits. So benefits, I've got a slide for benefits actually. This just summarises a few of them. I just stole it off Google. I'll get in trouble, but physical benefits and psychological benefits as well. So physical benefits, you know, it can help a number of physical health conditions. It can improve your sleep. It improves your focus, creativity, your working memory, lots of things that employers are fond of and like. There's lots of different studies to show that it can be really helpful with pain, and it can really change your relationship with pain. So lots of different physical health things, digestive problems, particularly like the stress-related, like IBS and things. But for me, one of the main benefits of mindfulness is around the emotional well-being. So with today's world, the stressful, the always-on, with digital enhancements that we've got, it really, really significantly helps stress, anxiety, depression, any mental health-related condition. Not even just the serious ones, but just general day-to-day stress as well. And this has been proven. There's lots of neuroscience behind mindfulness, lots of evidence, lots of research to prove that it works. And it's now recommended by the NHS. It's NICE recommended as well. So, you know, the facts are all really there, and I've experienced it myself. It's definitely very helpful. it can really help with your focus and concentration. Like I say, it's a really good way of managing your mood and your emotions in an effective way. And what it is basically teaching you that we don't have to spend all of our time lost in thought and up thinking. Not that thinking's bad, but we can spend a lot of time overthinking and perhaps doing a lot of unhelpful thinking. So mindfulness is just training us to bring our brains back into the present moment, a bit like how we are and how we're born and how we are as young children and how pets are as well. I'm always talking about my 2 cats. They're just always in the moment. So just be more present all the time. So before I talk about how I introduce mindfulness into Capital One, do you mind if we do a short guided practice? I love doing this because I think you can talk to people about what mindfulness is, but until they actually experience it, they don't really perhaps get the benefits from it. So yeah, I'd just like to invite you all, and you can, if you don't want to do this, absolutely fine, just observe as well. So we'll just stay seated where we are. If you're comfortable to have your feet flat on the floor, that can help you feel grounded. And I'm just going to literally guide us through just a couple of minutes, a really short, formal meditation. Okay, so closing your eyes or lowering your focus to the floor. All I'd like you to do is just start to become aware of the contact that your feet are making against the floor. Just simply sensing into your feet and that contact. Becoming aware of the contact that your body's making against the chair. So just noticing those contact points, the weight of your body against the chair. Really sensing into the body. And what you'll find is as we do this, at some point, if it's not already, your mind will wander into thought. And it doesn't matter how many times your mind does this, but each time it does, you just notice where it's gone and bring it back again into the body. So you might just want to do a quick scan around your body, just noticing parts that feel relaxed and comfortable. And also notice parts that feel perhaps a bit tense. Sometimes we might have tension in our shoulders or face or jaw. Just notice if there's any tension present for you, and if you find any, you may choose just to soften any tension. All we're doing is being curious and interested in how the body feels right now. As soon as we notice our minds wandered to thoughts, that's being mindful, so just bring it back again once you've noticed, to just simply noticing how your body feels right now. And just bringing your focus now to the centre of the body, so your tummy and chest and back, the whole core of the body. Just becoming aware of the body breathing. So how do you know you're breathing? Can you sense into the in-breath and the out-breath? And really spend a few moments just feeling the breath. Don't need to change how you're breathing at all, just follow the natural breath. Just for a few moments. Just feeling the in-breath and the out-breath. Just bring your awareness to one final in-breath and one final out-breath. Then if your eyes are closed, just gently open your eyes again. Bring your gaze up, and we'll just bring this practice to a gentle close. Thank you all for taking part in that. Just wanted to give you a very short glimpse, particularly for those people that might not be aware of what mindfulness is. You've tried it now, so that was what was called a formal meditation that you've just done. So I hope everyone enjoyed that. So I'm just going to talk now a little bit around how I introduced the practice of mindfulness into Capital One. So I worked there for 16 years in a HR role up until last May. And once I was introduced to it about 5 years ago, I started to try and introduce it into the organisation. And it was a real bottom-up approach. So I was there as a mindful champion and was basically talking about it in every meeting that I could until people was probably sick of the word mindfulness. and managed to persuade the leaders to start running some taster workshops. Now, I think taster workshops are a really good way of first introducing mindfulness because they just give people a glimpse of what it isn't. They get to do a few guided practices like what I've done there. I do some simple, like quite fun mindful eating practices and things in the taster workshops. So they went really well in Capital One, and they're still being run now. And today, when I left, there was around 1,000 staff. I think there's around 1,500 staff now. But currently, to date, there's nearly 500 people that have been on the taster workshops. So they're a great success. Well, the feedback that Capital One were getting following the taster workshops was that they were great, but, well, two things. Firstly, people felt there was nowhere in work that they could do the mindfulness practice, their daily mindfulness practice. And the second one was that they wanted more. They wanted a longer course so they could really embed it and make it into a habit. So for the first one, Capital One allowed me to introduce some mindfulness rooms. So the next few slides, there was one original mindfulness room, and it wasn't even an actual room. It was just a spare bit of space that wasn't being used. And we dedicated it a mindfulness space and put some screens up and some pictures and things and books. There's now a room on each floor, so there's some resources in there. So a space that people could go to in the workplace. They weren't able to book it or use it for meetings. If I saw anyone in there with a laptop, they'd be kindly told to move, not to eat the lunch in, but actually they could actually do the sessions in there. I started running lunchtime sessions as well, and since I've left, somebody else there now runs the lunchtime sessions. And people could just borrow the books, take them home if they want. They could do some of the mindful colouring, which is quite popular at the moment. At the time, because it was a few years ago, a bit less digital, but we had a CD player in there, and they could play guided tracks as well, just to do their own practice. Now, a lot of people use apps, so I provided an app for staff now, so they can just play it out their app. So this was, received great feedback, and the mindfulness rooms continue there. The course was to respond to the feedback that people found it was great to have a bit of a glimpse and a taster, but they wanted to actually learn it and embed it into their lives. So there's a standard course called the MBSR, which is the Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction course. It's a national course. So we introduced a version of this. First of all, I got the business back in to do a pilot of it. So before the pilot, we did questionnaires, and we did questionnaires at the end with a control group as well, because I wanted some hard evidence. Capital One, a very analytical company, so I wanted some evidence to show them that it worked. So they did questionnaires before and after, and even though it was only a small group that went on it, we found a statistically significant difference between people's stress levels who went on the course at the end of it and the people who didn't go on the course. It was significant, even though it was only a small group of 10 people. We also did mindfulness questionnaires, and there was significant statistical difference in the benefits they reported from how they felt from mindfulness compared to the control group. So this was enough for me to persuade leadership then that this is something that's really helping the staff and really helping them managing their stress and their emotional regulation. So then rolled out and doing regular courses sort of quarterly for staff, and that's open to all staff. And then a few other things at Capital One we did. There's an intranet page. I keep saying we, and I left last May. I've got to remember it's them now. Left intranet page dedicated to mindfulness that people can share things on and tips and things, and a buddy system. So people that go on the course can then buddy up and follow up support as well. So follow up sessions. So all in all, it was really well introduced, and I'm very grateful to Capital One that I could then leave and set up myself as a mindfulness teacher because it's helped me so much. I wanted to teach it. So now I spend time bringing it into different organisations, which is going really well. And it's really important to tailor it to the organisation's culture. So some organisations I'm working with at the moment, they can't do the type of thing that Capital One has done because they're on multi-sites. It won't work. So I'm developing a podcast for one of the companies there. Some of them just do taster sessions and then regular lunchtime sessions. Some of them do the full course. Some have rooms, some may not be able to have rooms, but it's about tailoring it to them. But just to sum up at the end, just some, I'll flick onto that, I don't think I've got any more pictures there. Just some top tips. I suppose I've gone through lots of ebbs and flows of introducing mindfulness and helping, but anyone that's thinking of it, I think it's really important to make it open to everyone. So I think that's really, really important to all staff. You might want to pilot it with a certain team, and pilots work really well with the course. But make it open to everyone, but also not forcing anyone to go on it because they've got to be wanting to do it themselves as well. So open to everyone, but perhaps people allocate themselves to go on it. And I think it's about tailoring how, and this is what I do now as part of my current role, is helping companies communicate and really appeal it to the staff. So if you've got a team of scientific analysts or techs, you might want to talk about the neuroscience of it to persuade them to go on. Or if you've perhaps got a stressed out call centre team, you can talk about how it can help with work-life balance and stress. Or you could do it for maternity, paternity, adoption returners and tell them how it can help with sleep, which is another big benefit. So it's about really adapting it and tailoring it for the individual organisation.